Till now, we have studied about the fluids at rest. The study of fluids in motion is called fluid dynamics. So let us go towards the fluid dynamics. When a fluid is in flow, its motion can either be smooth or irregular depending on its velocity of flow. At slow speeds, the flow is smooth or steady. We call such flow as streamlined flow. In such a flow, the path followed by every fluid particle is exactly the same as that followed by the preceder. For example, there is some flow. One particle at a time is at point P. After some time, another particle comes at this point, but all the particles passing this point P will have same velocity v. Thus, when a liquid flows such that each particle of the liquid passing a given point moves along the same path and has same velocity as the preceder had at that point is called a streamlined or steady flow. The path followed by a fluid particle in steady flow is called streamline. Now let us see some properties of streamline flow. Let's say this is a streamline flow. Then the tangent at any particular point to the streamline will give the direction of velocity at that point. No streamlines can cross each other. For example, there are two lines, they are crossing each other. So at the point of intersection, we will get two different tangents. That means two different velocities at a single point. It is not possible for a particle to have two different velocities at single point. So, no streamlines can intersect each other. The fluid velocity remains constant at any point of streamline. That is, at whatever time any particle travels or passes the point P, it will pass this point with constant velocity v. This velocity at given particular point will not change. This can be proved using equation of continuity. So let us see equation of continuity first. So now let us see the equation of continuity. Consider a fluid in a steady flow. Steady or streamline flow. The map of its flow for a particular section can be shown by a bundle of streamlines. It is a bundle of streamlines. Here area of cross section is greater at point Q than at point P. Hence, streamlines are very close at point P than at Q. Let the area of cross section and fluid velocity at point P be A1 and V1, and the area of cross section and velocity at point Q be A2 and V2 respectively. So, the volume of fluid moving in at P in small time interval delta t will be A1 V1 into delta t, and the volume of fluid coming out at point Q will be A2 V2 delta T. Now, by conservation of mass, as this fluid is in, mass entering at point P will be equal to mass leaving at point P. So we can write A1 V1 delta T is equals to A2 V2 delta T. This delta T will get cancelled out. So we can write that A1 V1 is equals to A2 V2. This is called equation of continuity. From this we can write A into V is equals to constant. That is, product of area and velocity is constant. So at a given place, if area is more, then velocity will be less. For given case, A1 is less than A2, so V2 will be less than V1. The equation of continuity states that for the streamline flow of an incompressible fluid through a pipe of varying cross-section, A into V remains constant. This equation shows that the fluid velocity at a point is inversely proportional to the area of cross-section. It is for this reason the speed of water flowing out of a garden pipe increases as we close it partially with our finger. This decreases the area and hence the speed is increased. Now let us see one very practical application in day-to-day life of this equation of continuity. As water falls from a tap, the velocity of water goes on increasing. Hence, from the equation of continuity, the cross-section of water stream goes on decreasing. Let's say A0 is the area of cross-section of tap and V0 is the speed with which the water falls. At the height h below the tap, the area of cross-section is A and the velocity of water is V. Applying equation of continuity, we can write A0 V0 is equals to AV. But V square is equals to V0 square plus 2GH. So V square upon A square minus V square upon A0 square is equals to 2GH. So velocity at height h is given by A0 into A under root 2GH divided by A0 square minus A square. Now let us see the Bernoulli's principle. This principle is based on the law of conservation of energy for fluids in motion. According to the equation of continuity, AV is equals to constant. The fluid velocity changes with change in cross section. It means there must be some force acting on the fluid that causes this change in velocity. This resultant force arises due to the difference in pressure exerted by fluid at different regions. Bernoulli related this difference of pressure between 2 points in a pipe to the changes in kinetic energy and potential energy. Consider the figure shown below. It is a portion of an incompressible fluid flowing steadily. The density of fluid is rho. Let the fluid be initially between ends R and Q. Its velocity at R is v1 and velocity at Q is v2. In an infinitesimal time interval delta t, fluid moves a distance of v1 delta t from R to R dash, and in the same time it moves a distance of v2 delta t from Q to Q dash. The pressure exerted by the incoming fluid on this mass delta m at end R is P1. Fluid will be coming from this, so pressure exerted is P1 and at Q it is P2. Thus, the force acting on fluid inside the pipe at R is F1, that is equals to P1 A1. In the time delta t, the force moves the fluid by distance v1 t. Hence, the work done by this force W is equals to F1 v1 delta t. But F1 can be written as P1 A1. So work done is equals to P1 A1 v1 delta t. During this time interval delta t, the fluid inside the pipe pushes the fluid at Q towards right by distance v2t. Hence, the work done on the fluid inside the pipe is W2 is equals to minus of P2A2 into V2 delta T. So the total work done will be W1 plus W2, that will be equal to P1 minus P2 A1 V1 let us write whole terms. It will be P1 A1 V1 delta T minus P2 A2 V2 delta T. But from the equation of continuity, A1 V1 is equals to A2 V2. So A1 V1 delta T, let's say, is equals to change in volume delta V. This delta V is change in volume. So we can write W1 plus W2 is equals to P1 minus P2 into delta V. This work done is related to change in kinetic energy and change in potential energy of the fluid by work energy theorem. If rho is the density of fluid and delta m is equals to rho delta V is the mass passing through the pipe in time delta t, then change in its gravitational potential energy will be equal to delta mg h2 minus h1. So delta u will be equal to rho delta v, that is delta m, into g h2 minus h1. The change in kinetic energy delta k will be equal to half rho delta v into v2 square minus V1 square. From this we can write work done is equals to change in potential energy plus change in kinetic energy. So write the values. Work done is equals to P1 minus P2 into delta V is equals to G H2 minus H1 into rho delta V plus half rho delta V into V2 square minus V1 square. This delta will get cancelled out. So we can write P1 minus P2 is equals to rho G H2 minus H1 plus half rho V2 square minus V1 square. From this we can write P1 plus rho G H1 plus half rho V1 square is equals to P2 plus rho G H2 plus half rho V2 square. So pressure plus rho G H, that is potential energy per unit volume, plus half rho V1 V square is equals to constant. This is the equation of Bernoulli's principle, and the principle states that pressure plus potential energy per unit volume plus kinetic energy per unit volume remains constant provided the flow is streamline, that is steady flow, and the fluid is incompressible. Though we can explain many phenomena using the Bernoulli's equation, there are some limitations to this equation. The first one is it is applicable only for incompressible fluids. It is because it does not take into account the elastic energy of the fluid. The second one is it is assumed that no energy is dissipated due to frictional force. That means friction is not considered. But in practical life, it is not possible to have a frictionless situation. And the third one is it does not hold for non-steady flow. Not applicable for non-steady flow. So these are the limitations of Bernoulli's equation. Now let us see some applications of Bernoulli's principle. The first application is speed of efflux. The word efflux means the outflow of the fluid. Let us find an expression for the velocity of efflux for a fluid from small hole of its container. The figure shown here is a closed vessel filled with liquid up to height L. A small hole or orifice is made in its side at depth h below the surface of liquid. Taking the liquid to be incompressible, then only we can apply the Bernoulli's equation. So take the liquid to be incompressible and its flow through the hole as streamline. We can apply the equation of continuity at points 1 and at point 2. So from equation of continuity, A1 V1 is equals to A2 V2. From this we can write V2 is equals to A1 by A2 into V1. Now applying the Bernoulli's equation, that is P plus half rho V square plus rho GH is equals to constant. This is the Bernoulli's equation we are applying for these 2 points. So P1 plus half rho V1 square plus rho G, the height is L minus H, is equals to P2 plus half rho V2 square plus rho G. The height of the second point is L, so it will be rho G L. Now if A2 is very greater than A1, then V2 is approximately 0 from this. So we can ignore this V2 term. Now P2 plus rho GL will be equal to P1 plus half rho V1 square plus rho G L minus H. So P2 plus rho GH is equals to P1 plus half rho V1 square. We want to find the velocity of efflux. V1 is equals to V efflux. So V1 will be equal to P2 minus P1 into 2 divided by rho plus 2GH, that is V1 square. So V1 will be equal to under root 2 by rho P2 minus P1 plus 2GH. This is the velocity of efflux. Here P2 is the pressure above the liquid level and P1 is the pressure of the outside atmosphere. The velocity of efflux is given by under root 2 by rho P2 minus P1 plus 2GH. Now, if container is open, then P2 will be equal to P atmospheric and if outlet is also in atmosphere, then P1 will also be equal to P atmospheric. In that case, this P2 minus P1 will be 0. So the velocity of efflux will be simply root 2GH. Don't confuse it with the value of velocity that we get in the case of gravitational force. In the case of gravitational force, we take height h from the ground, but here the height h is the height of liquid level above the hole. Now, whenever there is a hole, this liquid will come out with some velocity V efflux and it will have a horizontal projectile motion. We can find the range for this water, the maximum distance up to which it can spill. If the water filled in container is up to height h and we have a hole exactly at the midpoint at h by 2, then in that case this range will be maximum. The other special case is liquid is filled up to some height. We have holes. There are two holes. One is at height x from bottom and another is at same depth from the surface. From surface at x depth and from bottom at x height. Then the range will be both of them is same. Remember this special cases. This will be very handy to solve the numerical problems. Now let us see the another application, that is venturimeter. The venturimeter is a device used to measure the rate of flow of liquid through a pipe. Let us see the construction. It consists of a horizontal tube having wide openings of cross section A, capital A, and small constriction of cross section small a. The broad neck at point and the constriction are also connected with a U-tube manometer. Now, how does this work? Let the venturimeter tube be kept in the way of the fluid whose flow rate is to be measured. Let the fluid velocities at the wide and the narrow end be V1 and V2. From equation of continuity, we can write A V1 is equals to small a V2. So V2 will be equal to capital A upon small a into V1. Now using Bernoulli's principle, we can write P1 plus half rho V1 square is equals to P2 plus half rho V2 square. Here we have not considered the height difference because the height difference in these 2 points is very negligible. So from this we can write P1 minus P2 is equals to half rho V2 square minus V1 square. But V2 can be written as A upon A. So A square upon A square into V1 square minus V1 square. So P1 minus P2 will be equal to half rho V1 square into A square upon A square minus 1. Now, it is clear from this expression that P1 is greater than P2 since A square upon small a square is greater than 1. But from equation of continuity, we know that V1 is less than V2. Thus, on a horizontal flow, the fluid pressure is always greater at the point where fluid velocity is lesser. So, where pressure is more, velocity is less. The pressure difference P1 minus P2 gives rise into a difference of liquid levels into two arms of manometer tube. The liquid level in tube 2 is higher by h amount than in liquid 1. Then we can write that P1 minus P2 is equals to density of liquid, let's say that is rho m, into G into H, that is equals to half rho V1 square A square upon A square minus 1. From this we can write V1 is equals to under root 2 rho m GH divided by rho into A square upon V square minus 1. So by seeing the pressure, we can say about the volume flow rate. The other application of this Bernoulli's equation is the sprayer. Sprayer is used to spray water or the cleaning solution, or same type of construction is used in our perfume water bottles. So let us see how it works. The figure shows the essential parts of an atomizer or the sprayer. When the balloon is pressed, this is rubber balloon, it is pressed, the air pushes out of the horizontal part of tube B. When air moves from here, the pressure here is decreased. So P2 is decreased. Pressure at this point will increase as we are pushing the air out. The pressure is increased. It is because the liquid in the bottle rises up. The liquid will rise up, and while mixed with air, we can spray it out. So pressure at P2 is decreased. So liquid will travel from high pressure, that is P1, to low pressure portion P2. Then it will get mixed with air and it will breaks up into a fine spray. Now let us see some examples based on the Bernoulli's principle and equation of continuity. In this example, a pipe of varying cross section is held such that its axis is horizontal. At two cross sections A and B, its radii are 8 cm and 4 cm. Velocity of water at A. This is the axis, this is point A and this is point B. The radii at this point is 8 cm and at this point it is 4 cm. Velocity of water at A through the pipe is 16 cm per second and pressure at A is 10 power 6 dyne per centimeter square. We want to find the pressure at point B. Here the height difference between A and B is negligible, so we can use the Bernoulli's equation. It is half plus rho GH plus half rho V square is equals to constant. Writing it for A and B and ignoring this potential energy term, we can write P1 plus half rho V1 square is equals to P2 plus half rho V2 square. Here the liquid is water, so density of water will be 1 gram per centimeter cube. P1 is 10 power 6 plus half into V1 square, that is 8 square 64 is equals to P2 plus half rho is 1 V2 square, that will be 16. So P2 will be equal to 10 power 6 plus 32 minus 8. So P2 will be equal to approximately 99.808 into 10 power 4 dyne per centimeter square. In this example, an incompressible liquid is flowing through a horizontal pipe as shown. We want to find the value of V. The area of cross section given as A 1.5 A and point E. Velocity at this point is 4 meter per second and velocity at this point is 3 meter per second. Here we will use the concept of conservation of mass. That is, mass entering will be equal to mass leaving. Mass entering will be 4 into A. That will be equal to 1.5 AV plus 0.8 into 3. This A will get cancelled out. So 4 is equals to 1.5 V plus 2.4. So 1.5 V will be equal to 1.6. So V will be approximately equal to 1.1 meter per second. In this example, a manometer connected to a closed tap reads 4.2 into 10 power 6 Newton per meter square, and when tap is opened, the reading of manometer falls to 4 into 10 power 6 Newton per meter square. We want to find the speed of flow of water. According to the Bernoulli's principle, P plus half rho V square is equals to constant. We will not consider the rho GH term because height is same. So P1 plus half rho V1 square is equals to P2 plus half rho V2 square. Initially the tap was closed, so V1 will be equal to 0. So half rho V2 square is equals to P1 minus P2. So half rho V2 square is equals to P1 minus P2 will be 2 into 10 power 5. So rho V2 square will be equal to 4 into 10 power 5. So V2 square will be equal to 4 into 10 power 5 divided by rho. Rho is the density of water, that is 1000 kg per meter cube. So V2 square will be 4 into 10 power 2. So V2 will be equal to 20 meter per second. In the example, the bottom of a cylindrical vessel has a circular hole of radius small r at a depth h below the water level. If diameter of the vessel is d, then find the speed with which the water level in the vessel drops. The velocity of efflux is given by under root 2gh. This is the cylindrical vessel. There is a hole at depth of h. The diameter of the hole is 2r and the diameter of cylindrical vessel is d. Applying equation of continuity, velocity at this point is v, so pi d by 2 whole square is equals into v is equals to pi r square into root 2gh. This pi will get cancelled out, so v will be 4r square upon d square root 2gh. So this will be our final answer. In this example, the water tank is placed on a platform of height 5 meter and there is one hole near the bottom in the wall of tank 5 meter below the level of water. Find the speed with which the water will hit the ground. First, let us draw the diagram so that we can understand the situation. The tank is placed at a height of 5 meter. So this height is 5 meter. The water level is also up to a height of 5 meter inside the tank. There is a hole near the bottom. From this point, the water will spill out and it will hit the ground in this projectile manner. We want to find the speed with which it will hit the ground. When it hits the ground, there will be two components of velocity. One will be horizontal component and the one will be vertical component. Let's say horizontal component is VH and vertical component is VV. During the projectile motion, the horizontal components remain same. So, if it is projected with velocity is equals to velocity of efflux, that will be the component which is horizontal. So, VH is equals to V efflux, and that is equal to, as the tank is open, under root 2GH. Here H is the height of the liquid level above the hole, that is equals to 5 meter. So VH will be equal to under root 2G into 5. That will be equal to 10 meter per second. Now, when it gets out from the hole, the initial vertical component of velocity is 0. So, after traveling 5 meter, the final vertical component will be VV square is equals to 0 plus 2G into height is H. So, vertical component of velocity will also be 10 meter per second. So, the speed with which it hits the ground will be under root VH square plus VV square, that is equals to under root 10 square plus 10 square. That will give us the answer 10 root 2 meter per second. Put the value of root 2, we will get 14.14 meter per second. In this example, a tank is filled with water to a height capital H. A hole is made in one of the walls at depth D below the water surface. The distance x from the foot of the wall at which the stream of water coming out of the tank strikes the ground is given by. So basically we want to find the range of the water. The hole is at depth D. The total height of liquid is H. Let's say it is coming out from speed V and it will hit the ground at distance x from the tank. The horizontal range x is equal to U under root 2H by G. Here H is the height from the ground, so that will be 2 under root H minus D upon G. But U will be the velocity of efflux. So U will be equal to under root 2G, height above the point, that will be D. So the range x will be equal to under root 2GD into 2H minus D upon G. This G will get cancelled out. So x will be 2 into D into H minus D whole power 1 by 2. So this will be our range. In this example, a tank is filled with water and two holes A and B are made in it. For getting same range, what is the ratio of H dash by H? A is made at height h from bottom and B is made at depth h dash from top. We want to have a same range. For that, we want to find the ratio of h dash by h. First, write the range for A. Let's say this distance between A and B is x. So range for A will be R is equals to U under root 2h by g. U will be velocity of efflux. For A it will be under root 2g and height will be x plus h dash into under root 2, h is the height from bottom, that is small h divided by g. So this g will get cancelled out, 2 under root h into x plus h dash. Now range for B. R is equals to again U under root 2h by g. U is the velocity of efflux, that is equals to 2g. The height of liquid level above point B is h dash. So h dash into under root 2, height from bottom will be x plus h. Upon g. This g will get cancelled out, so we'll get 2 under root h dash into x plus h. We want same range, so 2 under root h into x plus h dash is equals to 2 under root h dash into x plus h. 2 will get cancelled out, taking square on both the sides. We can write h into x plus h dash is equals to h dash into x plus h. From this we can write h is equals to h dash because they are interchangeable. So h dash by h will be equal to 1. We have just seen in our notes that if height from the bottom and depth from the top are same for two different holes, then they will have same range. We can also explain how heart attack occurs with the help of Bernoulli's principle. When the inner walls of blood artery get constricted due to the deposition of plaque, the heart is required to exert excess pressure so as to derive the blood through this constriction. Blood flow speed increases through it as in accordance with the equation of continuity, because as due to plaque area decreases, the speed of blood will increase. The increased blood flow reduces the pressure at the constriction because P plus half rho V square is equals to constant. Speed is increased, so pressure is decreased. This leads to collapse of artery due to external pressure. The heart has to push harder to push blood through this artery. As the blood rushes through the opening, the pressure inside the artery drops once again. The artery collapses again, and this repeated collapse may lead to heart attack. Using Bernoulli's equation, we can also explain the dynamic lift and Magnus effect. First of all, let us understand the deviation of spinning ball from its parabolic path while moving in air. That is called Magnus effect. This is called swinging of ball. While swinging, the bowler will rub half of the ball so that the half surface becomes rough and the other half will remain smooth. Now, the bowler will spin the ball in the air. Now, due to spinning, there will be air surrounding the ball. As this surface is rough, the air will stick to this surface more compared to the smooth surface, because in layman language we can say that air will slip out of this surface. As air is attached more to the rough surface, the velocity of this portion is higher compared to the smooth portion. As the velocity is high, the pressure will be less. The height difference is not considerable. So if we use Bernoulli's equation, P is equals to half rho v square is equals to constant. As velocity is more, pressure will be less. In the opposite side, as the surface is smooth, the velocity will be less and pressure will be more. So the air or force will move from higher pressure to lower pressure. So there will be force acting on the ball in this direction. So ball will follow a parabolic path instead of moving straight. This is called the Magnus effect.